Good morning. The first thing I have to say is Mary Faith worked most of all in terms of putting time and effort into this, so thank you very much. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my family. The ashes of my parents, Norman and Viola Lenz, are buried in the Memorial Garden, and I know some of you here knew them. Also, the ashes of my brother's wife's parents, follow me, are in the garden. Dorothy and all of a sudden I'm absolutely drawing a blank on her husband's name. It'll come back to me. Howard Feige. Oh, embarrassing. And so I know that many of you, some of you knew my parents. My father was a businessman. He, commuted, went down to the city each day. My mother was a homemaker. Dorothy also was a homemaker, and Howard went into the city each day. We joined the church in 1957 when we moved to actually the other end of the block, 109 East Council Trail. I think the Feiges moved here in the 1940s. The church was important to my parents. They participated in its committees, and quite ironically, something I plan to say is that one year my father and other men built a replica of South Church for the 4th of July float. So, they really did a fabulous job. My mom had Alzheimer's, and the people in the church were just so loving and supportive and caring for her, which is something I and my brother just deeply appreciate. So my parents' ashes are buried, on the grounds of a church that was important to them and in our neighborhood, and with other, friends and relatives. It just is a wonderful, warm feeling, and appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
I don't know about you. When I was 8 years old, my parents decided to uproot my 3 sisters, my brother, and me from our home in LaGrange Park and replant us a few blocks from here on Edward Street. My father was raised a Catholic, my mother was raised a Mormon, so naturally we joined the South Church. In 1965, 4 years before Mary Faith, I was baptized right back there. It's still there?
It is.
I was baptized in the church in 1965. Sadly, several months before that, my older sister Nancy died in an automobile accident, and that was well before the Memorial Garden. But we'll get to the connection in a second. Let's see. So in 1998, my father died, and his ashes are there in the garden as well. At that time, we decided to purchase a memorial spot for my sister Nancy, so she has a memorial site in the garden as well. Happily, my mother is 92 and still with us, and still lives in the house on Edward Street that we all grew up in. And I guess if she decides to pass away at some point, that she will also be in the garden as well. My roots in this church are pretty deep. My wife is a member here. Beverly Hanna, her parents were members here as well. But the opportunity to be on this committee has actually been quite nice for me, because it's allowed me to reconnect with the church. When it came time to reform the committee, Mary Faith called my brother, of course, because everybody likes my brother best. But he lives in Cincinnati, so he suggested that Mary Faith call me, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad she called, and it's been a great experience for me to be on the committee. And Gail's up now. I'd like to introduce our elder statesman, Gail Floyd.
Thank you, Rob. And we're very glad you're on the committee. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gail Warrior, long-time member of South Church. 50-some years. And it has been an honor to be on the committee, to be on both committees. When Bob, my husband, and I decided we would be cremated, we were presented with the problem of where do we put our ashes. So we just sort of let it ride, and Mom had jokingly said, "You can throw me into Weller Creek because that's where all my golf balls are." So, you know, we just let that ride for a while. And so the memorial garden was a real blessing for us. It solved our problem. And a couple of years ago when Bob died, it was very peaceful to have him placed in a place like the memorial garden. Frida? Oh.
Thank you, Gail.
I'm Trina Bryant. Mary Faith had brought up the subject of being on the Memorial Garden Committee with our moms several years ago. And at that point, I was up to my eyeballs in pads, and I'm like, I don't do this whole death thing anyway, so, you know. But in the meantime, you know, life or death happens, and now my dad's there, and I agreed to be on the committee, and you know, Mary Faith and I go back to Mrs. Irwin's 7th grade English class. So it's been fun to be on this committee, and Mary Faith and I are working together. And, it is a peaceful place, and my dad was not much of a church-going man, but he was deeply spiritual, and he had read through the Bible several times, and you know, his knowledge was pretty good. But you know, Dad, we finally got you to church. And of course, he has his lucky number